You
Exactly.
know, this is a problem with the internet. You know, everybody's anonymous and they just post whatever they want. But in the real world, they would never say something like this.
And you know what I feel like? This is
Never.
actually, I think this is one of the places, I'm not always for big government, but I feel like these comment sections should be policed. You should only be able
I
to,
do it terribly. I'm a terrible police officer on my
no,
own
no, but
comment
really,
section.
I feel like you should only be able to have an account based on a real ID, and you have to write your
Mm.
real name. Because then people will, because there's so much
Yeah.
negativity. It affects people, really. It affects
No,
people.
it does. Yeah, yeah, it's poison. It's
It's
a
poison.
disease. So they have here Pantip Forum in Thailand, and you can only register with an ID and an account. And if you break the rules, which is negativity, they'll block you for life.
Perfect. That's
They'll
the
block you for life. And a lot of people are there for business purposes, you know, because all the reviews are there, and the reviews are very respectful, very nice. If something is wrong, they explain why, you know, and it's very into detail. And it's probably one of the best forums that I've ever seen, even though I can't read Thai. You know, my wife reads it for me. I said, man, I can't believe, you know, that they'll make reviews for hotels, and they'll take all the pictures, and this food is great, and this hotel room is great, and this was not so great. And then the hotel comes on board. It's rightly, you know, this hotel with the representative that come on board and explain the situation. Thank you for the review, and we'll try the best to improve it. And 6 months later, they go back for a review, and it's changed, and everybody jumps on board like, great freaking job. Here's 5 stars. It's one of the better forums that I've ever seen. Yeah, but the YouTube comment field is it's a roller coaster, man. Because some of the comments are absolutely hilarious to the point I'm laughing my ass off. You know,
like in terms of meanness or funny ones.
no, just funny. You know. It's just, and you see the likes go up, and I love it, and you pin them to the top because it's hilarious.
Or
And
the
then the
funny ones,
opposite. Yeah, and then the opposite end, you have the most disrespectful guy, you know, like this microphone, or for example, this microphone. Yeah, it's advanced, and it picks up a lot of static. So it picks up my breathing as well, right? I breathe. Somebody thought I was on trend, and then every video, he said, your breathing is off, you're on trend. Every video, 100 videos, he started posting comments. Crazy, absolutely nuts. So I blocked him. And this happens, of course, while I'm sleeping. So I wake up to 100 comments about trembolone and breathing issues and cardiovascular disease. And, you know, and it's unfortunate. Like, I would love to do like where you can pre-select the audience with YouTube. Like, you only make it available for men in between 25 and 60, for example.
on Instagram, you can do that, right?
Or on YouTube, sorry, on YouTube.
Yeah, but on Instagram, they do that. I don't know if you know this.
No, I don't know.
On Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Maybe I need to, you know, set up a business account. I'm not really sure. So if I could pre-select my audience, what it gets recommended to and what doesn't, maybe in the future that will be like, because now YouTube is 100% advertisement for your business. So you get a little bit more control over your audience. I think that would solve a lot of problems, you know. And then I select the countries as well. You know, they don't fall into my target demographic. Yeah, but that's, you know, wishful thinking, I guess. So for now, we'll just have to tolerate it.
What I've been doing, look, my channel is much smaller than yours, so I don't get as much negativity.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's growing. So
you know what I've been getting a lot now? I've been getting a lot of these. But anyway, what I was going to say is, what I do is, if the comment is like, I can clearly tell the person is trying to instigate something really intentionally, then I block them because I don't have time for them. But honestly, I block like 2 a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
But many of them are negative or something. They're trying to upset me. But I leave those ones if it's you know, lighthearted. But if it's somebody like trying, but what I'm getting now recently, a lot of the annoying comments is this guy is clearly Arab. Or this guy is Israeli, he's from Israel. Or a question like, which Arab country are you from? Well, the problem is I can't answer that easily because I'm biracial. And I lived in 2 countries. I mean, I'm from 2 countries. And I'm not even talking about where I lived, but I'm half white and I'm half Arab. So every time I have to answer...
And white and Arab is very broad. It's very broad.
If I want to answer, I have to write an essay for the person. Like, my mother's...
You'll answer it one time, and then the next video they'll answer it again, because
that's what happened. I answered
you have to put it in the description field. The frequently asked questions: what is your height? What is your weight? And what is your racial background? Are your marital status and your social security number, your tax ID, and
that's so true.
I think people don't understand how what silly shit we have to deal with on a daily basis. I talked about Derek from A Place More Days, and just let it stand because it's all for the algorithm. So I guess he figured it out, But I still get a bit butthurt when I see a negative comment, about something that there's no need for it, Personally, I talked about it with some other guy that has a YouTube channel, and I said I never disliked a video in my life. I've been on YouTube since its inception, since 12 years ago. I've never disliked a video. I've stopped videos and closed the screen and said, okay, I don't want to watch this because it's not worth my time, or it elicits a response that I don't want to feel. And but I never disliked the video in my life.
Because it takes a bizarre kind of feeling to want to dislike a video. It's like, and by the way, I noticed one thing. I think that they always dislike it in the beginning before they watch it. I hate you, and then they watch it. I think they watch it though. They're not just.
So you block a few people, and then you see your like ratio go up to 100% again. So you're gonna need to trigger these guys into posting something shitty. Then you block them, and then you go from 3 dislikes down to 2, and then to 1, and then to 0 again. And then you got 100% like ratio again. So I let them post. At one point, I get triggered for something you said, and then I'll just block them, and my like ratio goes up again.
Funny, I get like 2 or 3 dislikes on all my videos, including the informative ones, and I'm like, this is odd because I'm not even selling a product. The informative videos are, honestly, I don't talk about things people talk elsewhere. I usually talk something new every time. And it only benefit. I mean, why would you be?
You'll get like 10 dislikes for just talking about dislikes.
Yeah, probably. This will happen.
You should just take it. Man up.
No, it's because the thing is, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. You can't. Yeah. We're born to be social animal creatures. We used to live in tribes, and if somebody in the tribe says something to you negative, you have to think about it. Otherwise, you could cause conflict, or you could cause. You know what I mean? So we have these cognitive biases. We don't want to pay attention to these things. We know they're intentional. But you can't avoid it. And that's why Joe Rogan always says, don't read the comments. And for example, Rhonda Patrick, she does a health channel also. Rhonda Patrick does not. She has someone go through her comments for her.
Yeah, I think at one point, I would get a social media manager, just go through all the Instagram questions and the messages and the emails. And it can be very exhausting, but it can also be very fun, So I still read them once a day, when I'm in a good mood, I start reading, and then sometimes I'm not in a good mood to go through it for a couple of days, and I don't go through it. And they say, well, why don't you answer my questions? So, well, I have a service for that. It's $21.50, baby.
I have also a service on my website, email answer the questions. So but nobody ever wants to order it. But
I still get it. Yeah, I get a couple per day. Yeah, a couple. Per day.
That's good.
But I should get more subscribers, right? The more people are inclined to use your service. So it's it's a progressive thing until you get flooded with work and the rates go up.
Exactly. Before we leave off YouTube, one last question I want to ask you about YouTube, which is, do you feel, for me, this is less of an issue, but being a bodybuilding coach, this is an interesting subject. Huh? Do you feel that you have, I know you don't do this, but do you feel pressure to sort of look good for the camera? So, for example, to always stay low body weight or low body fat?
No. I mean, I do shave and trim my hair for the face, which is nothing to do with bodybuilding, just because I want to look clean.
Yeah.
Because my beard is not impressive, and when the hair is a little bit too long, I start to look like one of those capuchin monkeys because my ears are pointy. It's just looking in the mirror. I'm like you go like the most. You criticize yourself in the most ridiculous way. But I do like to look, freshly shaven and trimmed hair. But low body fat, no, man. I've posted on Instagram many times. Like I just posted a couple days ago, like a before and after, like completely shredded, 8% body fat after diuretics and, before my photo shoot. And then last Sunday or last Saturday where I'm 12 to 15% body fat on creatine, insulin, growth hormone, high calories, and I'm just completely glazed over. And just post, I just posted because I understand as a coach that it's all part of the process. And getting fat and bloofy and watery and losing definition is all part of the process to build your metabolism. And then you can get shredded on a higher baseline. So, I'm not vain enough to, and I've probably done too much LSD and mushrooms in my younger years to really have a big ego. I only get offended when people start to question my intellect. Because that's a lifetime of investment, right? In the body, I know it's a temporary investment. So being shredded is temporary, being fat is temporary, and being small or big is also temporary.
Well,
but the intellect is a huge investment.
But this is the thing, we know that basically Rich Piana killed himself to become a big YouTube star. I mean, on the way, maybe a little bit was an addictive personality or something like that, but he was certainly pushed. You could see in the earlier interviews, because the whole time I was watching it while it was happening, the early interviews he used to do with a wrestler, it's called Rick's Corner. And he still had the PMMA stuff or whatever it was, but
it wasn't that big.
He actually looked okay. And then
not so big for Rich Big, but if I were to stand next to him, I would disappear behind the guy. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, but what I mean is, you could see that over the next 3 years, even his nose grew. Everything grew from I guess he must have been the growth hormone.
I think it's also the water retention. I mean, I noticed the same thing with myself. Like, when I'm at the end of off season, like my shoes, they were tight, and now after 5 days of fasting, they're loose again because of the water retention.
Yeah, that just happened to me.
It contributes also, but he was on a decent amount of insulin for the shows. He even talked about it. Said, "Yeah, I'm going to do an insulin carb load for 3 days for the expo, so I can be huge as fuck, and then stand there the whole day on Adderall or some other stimulant." Which he also talked about openly. 300 pounds standing all day on Adderall and perhaps some other stimulants, which are allegedly used later on. It takes its toll.
But you look at it this way: the Adderall was there to keep him mentally, because he was basically trying to perform at his highest, maximize his outreach, his everything. And what I see right now, though obviously not a health concerning as much or anything like that, but is in the terms of Greg Doucette. Greg Doucette is always wearing, as you know, like a tiny T-shirt, and he had very low body fat. I mean, like almost like a few weeks from competition, And I know that that's not really comfortable, because if you look at his older videos, you see he had normal. He was normal.
A little bit of fluff,
a little bit. He was never fat, but a little bit. But now he stays, his for someone that's on some kind of hormones and has that much muscle mass, his face is curved inward. I mean,
I think he's on like 100 tests and 200 primo, and maybe his aromatase is a little bit too high. But, the pressure gets to a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons.
That's what I thought about.
Because I know several of the Instagram models who also on like letrozole every day.
That's
and their estrogen is like 2 or 3. And their HDL is the same. And pressure gets to people. And it's one of the reasons why I'd rather be just semi-famous, and not get too high of a following, just a loyal following that believes in what I have to say and that is health conscious and interested in what I have to learn or what I have to teach people. But I think at one point, the celebrity status gets to you. And I've seen it around me also.